For this example, we're going to input a stair into the model. First, we're going to go to elevation 110. And the first thing we need to do is put in another grid line. So we'll go to our grid line, add a grid line command. We'll highlight grid line 1 and base it off from that grid line. And we're going to go with a 6'0" for the dimension from grid line 1. For the view name, we're going to call it CL, capital CL space stair, center line of stair. And for this one here, let's change it to finite and hit add. And then you can cancel all that command. Now we have our stair center line. Now with it being a finite, we can click on the grid bubble and open up that view. For the stair, we're going to put the stair is going to be between grid lines A and B for the most part. And the stair will go up to 110'6". Our top of steel is at 110. We're going to have a 6-inch floor, concrete floor, so our top of stair will be at 110'6". So 110'6" down to elevation 100 is 126 inches. There's 18 risers divided out evenly, so that gives you 7-inch risers. So first thing I like to do is add in construction lines. So we'll do our construction line command and off from add a construction line, and we'll do base it off a construction line, highlight elevation 100, and our dimension from construction line is going to be 7. Our repeat factor is going to be 18. And then we'll exit all there. And then off from grid line B, based off from that line, we're going to go -36. And then we're going to go -11 with a repeat factor of 17 treads. We'll exit out there. Next thing I like to do is just show the work line of the stair. So I add another construction line in, and this time go from the intersection, and that is the intersection right there is my intersection 3 foot over from B and 6 inches up from grid line 1. So if I pick that point there, and as a double check, you can see there it says 6 inches, and this way it says 11. So that's my 11-inch tread. There's my 6 inches from grid line, or from elevation 110. If I go down to the next one, you can see my 7 inches. That's my 7-inch riser. So coming over here, I'm down 7 and I'm over 11. And there's my construction line, which is actually the work line of my stair. So another check here, we can use our ruler. From there to there is my 3 foot. From there to there, my 100 elevation is my 10'6". Picking again as another check dimension from grid line B, there's my last riser, my last nosing, but my stair actually starts over here, which is 19'6" over. So that's correct. So now to put in my stair, I can go to my member, add a here, or again, I'm going to use the pull down menus for this example, member add, and then stair. So for a stair, I'm going to pick my bottom of my stair, and this is 1 tread past your last nosing. So I'm going to go from there to my first nosing at my landing, my 3 foot over. And now it brings up your stair edit screen. So for our example, we want to use For our material, for our stringer material, we want to use 10-inch channels, 10 by 15.3. My stair tread is going to be stair tread schedule number 1. We'll get back to that in a little bit. My width of my stair, 3'0". We want to go 48 inches. The number of risers, we want to go to 18. And as I change this, you can see right below here, it says riser dimension 7 and 7/16 and tread dimension 11 to 5/8. Based on what I told you, we wanted 7-inch risers and 11-inch treads. Now when I change a 17 to an 18 here, now you can see my riser and tread dimensions changed. So make sure when you do that, this dimension here changes to what you want. You can't change it here. That's based off from your risers here and the points you picked. Next, we want to go to our end settings. And you can see our end elevation here is at 100 and our end elevations here at 110'6", so them are correct. Now we click on our near side stringer, and at the bottom of our stair, the bottom we picked was the left end. We want this to be bolt to floor. And then for our support to work point, we want to go 1.25. And then our cap plate thickness is 0.25. Now, you can do this 2 different ways. You can do both ends at the same time, or you have your near side stringer and then your far side stringer. For our case here, we want these to be the same. So again, our support to work point is going to be 1.25. First is going to be bolted to floor, and our cap plate thickness is going to be 0.25. And then on the right end here, we want to go with a return. And then our support to work point. Our support to our center line of our member is 3 foot, but we want to hold that stair stringer back a little bit, so we're going to go 2 foot 11 3/8. Slab to top of return is going to be 0. So make the same changes to the other stringer. And then that should be all the changes you need to make to your stair stringer. You can hit the return button for OK, and your stair is added in. So I'm going to hit my return on my mouse, and then I'm going to go to process. And I'm going to zoom in here. And my depth is set to 9 in and 9 out. So my depth in, I'm going to change to 36. And my out, I'm going to leave at 9. And as you can see, my stair came in. Every nosing ends up at the intersection of my construction lines that I put in. So that tells me my stair is input correct at my 7 and 11. And stair schedule number 1 is a pan stair. So you can see as I highlight this pan here, that's the pan itself. And as I zoom down to the bottom here, the dimensions we put in at the bottom, saying bolt to floor, it cuts the stringer at the floor line and at that 1 1/4 inch dimension we put out here. It added on a 1/4 inch cap plate. Up here at the top, it returned it back because from this point here to grid line B is 3 foot, but we said 2 foot 11 3/8. And as you can see, there are no connections at this with this version of SDS2. At this point in time, there are no connections. We will add in the stair connections here on the next assignment. Now the next step is, let's go back here to this, zoom into this stair here a little bit closer. Let's double click on the stair and let's change the stair schedule from schedule 1 to schedule 2 and return. Process the stair. And now you can see stair schedule 2 based on our setup is a bolted tread. In this case here, it looks like the schedule is not quite correct with the location of the bolts. That can be changed on your stair schedule based on your stair tread supplier, their dimensions as far as the depth of the end plate here and the location of that hole. You can change that on the stair tread schedule. So for an example, if we go back to our options here and fabricator setup, and then you go back down to stair tread definition schedule, and here's my stair treads. As I click on them, it shows me what I have. So stair tread 1, bent pan, here's my options. 2 is my bolted grating. Your horizontal distance to your hole, your vertical distance to your hole spacing, and your bolt diameter. Your tread grading depth, crossbars and spacings and so on. So here, for example, the depth of my bar grading was 1.5 inches. That is what determines the vertical bolt spacings according to your grading supplier. So in this case here, you'd go back to here and change, if say this was supposed to be 1.25 inch treads, bar grading would hit OK here. And as you can see here, it did not change it. We gotta go back here and change our schedule to 1. And then we'll edit that again and change it back to 2. And now you can see that the bar grading here, if I would go and add a construction line here, base it off from this construction line here, negative 1.25. You can see my depth of my bar is 1.25 now, and my bolt here clears. So again, that is all based on your grading tread supplier's dimensions.